Do you have to be rich to be an interior designer? Well, when you look around all of the samples that you're getting as an interior designer, when you look at all the interior designers that you admire, what kind of projects are they working on? They're working on beautiful, beautiful projects where, the samples and finishes are marbles and things that most people would really, really aspire to be able to afford. But also, as a designer, we would aspire to be able to specify. But unfortunately, the reality is that for the vast majority of interior designers, we are not working on those luxury projects, and there's a reason for it. So let's go down and let's start with what is rich. In the context of interior design, in today's world, rich is somebody, and these days, anybody who can afford a property. And I can feel how frustrating this topic is for many, many people. Because if you're somebody in your 20s or 30s, having your own property might not even be a possibility for you right now. A lot of people are still living at home. A lot of people are finding it very difficult to get on the property ladder. And this is not just here in the UK, but around the world. And so this all of a sudden now, changes our idea of who is rich, because it's not somebody who owns a yacht living in Monaco. It's somebody who owns a house big enough to renovate, anyone who has the money to renovate, and anybody who actually is conscious about having, to spend their money in a way where that renovation is, of a certain quality where design input is relevant. And so all of a sudden, where in the past, anyone who was usually, working hard in their 20s and 30s was able to buy a home, even an apartment. And these days, that's not actually very possible for a vast majority of at least younger people. And so what impact does that have on, interior design and the interior design profession? Well, home ownership now is really now considered wealth. And so all of a sudden, a lot of interior designers, especially the younger designers who are coming in, don't have the opportunities that a wealthy designer might have. So let's go a little bit deeper into this. Think about the vast majority of interior designers that you know of. How did they get started? What is their origin story? They started because they did their own home. They started because they had a friend that they did a project for. They started because they had a recommendation from somebody, or they met somebody in, a social situation where they had a property that they were renovating, and they were in that class where they were exposed to people who had homes. So now imagine you're, in your 20s and 30s, have been working in a particular career, doesn't matter what career, and you're thinking about becoming an interior designer. Vast majority of people, closer to 50% of people don't own their own homes in their 20s and 30s these days. And so all of a sudden, these people don't have, their own home to work on because it's a rental. And, we all know how difficult it is to have a landlord accept you making changes to that rental. And then you also might not have a circle of friends that own homes that you can work on. And so all of a sudden, the way that most people got started isn't available to you. And then also, the next thing is if you do get a project, it's usually a lot smaller than the luxury projects you're seeing. It's very unlikely, unless you have the network of wealthy friends who have homes, who also have the ability to renovate and the finances to renovate, or you have your own property that you can afford to renovate, you're not going to be having that huge luxury project where you're specifying marbles and all these beautiful materials for projects. And so all of a sudden, something like small projects become very important, because now you've got this elite wealthy group of people that don't consider themselves wealthy. They just own homes and they can afford to renovate. So they don't think they're wealthy, but they are when you're comparing yourself against someone who can't even afford to get on the property ladder, or is, someone who's trying to get into the design industry and just hasn't got friends who have houses and who can get, that foot in the door with a project and trying to work on projects. And so all of a sudden, these smaller projects start to become, a lot of the kinds of projects that most designers who are starting out are starting to work on. And also the kinds of projects that designers who are now, have been working for a little while are starting to get, because, the wealth is going down for, the vast majority of middle class and people who were owning homes or could afford homes. And so this now puts an emphasis on how we're running small projects. How can you make a small project profitable? Well, the vast majority of people who, we've all been following on the internet and, how they run a project is for a luxury project. You cannot add the resources to a project and run a small project in the same way that you're running one of those big projects, because there's just no finances in the service to you. Because, let's just say there's a 50K project. So your client has 50K to spend on, a kitchen renovation. Let's just suggest that you can get a fee to design that. And, when you're looking even at 10%, that's 5K of that 50K as a design fee. And that would be, I would say, these days, a good design fee for a small project. But you cannot do everything for 5K, because just say that's 1 month of what you need to earn. And if you were running a luxury project for that 5K, you would go broke, because you would be running it for at least 2 months, because we all know that the work involved, design alone takes 1 or 2 weeks, then detail design takes another 1 or 2 weeks minimum, maybe 3 or 4. So that's already 6 weeks of design work before that you've even gotten a contractor on site. Then if you're running the project management, then if you're doing some kind of install or styling or photography at the end of it, all of a sudden you realize, okay, that's a minimum 2 months of work, and I'm only getting half a month or half of that. So all of a sudden you realize you cannot run the smaller projects like you're running those bigger projects or those higher value projects. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm teaching how to run small projects profitably. Teaching you how to run small project and build your business on those smaller projects, then move up to those medium-sized projects, and then move up to those larger projects. That's how I did it. I didn't start with, any friends who owned houses. When I first bought my house, I saved for 15 years to buy my first, really bad ex-council flat in London. And, these days, to even have a property, I feel really blessed, and I'm really grateful that I've been able to work towards that and get that. That's not available to a lot of people. But because of, the way also my history in architecture, I had the skills to do, some parts of interior design. So when I was starting my interior design business, I was able to take on those smaller projects that no one else wanted. And I was quite happily taking on because, well, I needed the money, firstly. And secondly, I knew how to work on, because I was already 15 years into an architecture career by the time I started my interior design business. And because of that, I could work really fast. That doesn't mean that you should do what I was doing, in the sense that I took on every project that came my way and just overworked myself and charged really cheap. From doing that, obviously I did hundreds and hundreds of projects. And because of because I did work on those hundreds and hundreds of projects, and because I had the skills and the energy at the time, which I don't anymore, to, undertake those projects with such zeal and passion for such a low fee, I figured out a way of how to run those projects in a way that is profitable and sustainable, because I had no other choice. I needed to pay my mortgage, and I needed to not only have it survive, but I needed to do well. And I was adamant to do well, because I knew I had the skills in order to, become a good designer. And so this is what I help teach inside my mentorship. I have a membership mentorship now. In the past, we would just run like a 90-day mentorship under my IDBS designer school, but now we've changed it to mentorship membership, where you can now watch how I run these projects and learn how to run these projects, as well as, run your projects sustainably, profitably, whilst, getting all of the things that you need in your interior design business, but also seeing how these projects are run. And that is really important, because you don't get that anywhere. You also can't see that. The only way you get that information is by making those mistakes yourself. And you don't need to, because I did it with hundreds of projects at the beginning. And the vast majority of people who are trying to become interior designers right now, and those people who are, working on interior design projects at these smaller project scales, just cannot afford to work for free or to work for really, really low wages for an extended period of time in order to support that career, to, kickstart the career. Whereas, a luxury designer, even though they don't see themselves as rich, might have someone else supporting them. They might have their parents, or they might have, a partner who is, able to provide them, or they had, another career. So they're a little bit older. They had a payout from that career, or they're on maternity leave. They're able to have money or a source of income to support them while they're taking on those projects. But again, a lot of the time, that could be a limited amount of time that you have if you're, a designer starting your own business or working on smaller projects. And so I had a limited amount of time. I had 2 months. I had 2 months worth of pay in my savings to, get my career off the ground, and I made it work. But those first probably 20 projects that I took on weren't particularly profitable. I just worked my booty off, and I worked day and night, and a lot harder than you probably should. I had the skills to do that, but no one needs to work that hard as an interior designer. You just need to know how to run those projects profitably and properly, and not in the same way that most of those larger projects are run. So if that sounds interesting to you, come and have a look at our InterDesign platform. It's called interdesign.online, and I'll show you how my projects are run, how I can sustain being an interior designer without all of those wealthy friends, without, being somebody who was born into wealth, or somebody who just naturally had, a wealthy friend who I could, who could, help me kickstart my career with their project. So this is something that a lot of people really need right now. So come inside and have a look at what we're doing.